Okay, now, I know... Hold on, let me close my door. Now, I know that this video is... Huh. Maybe I don't know. Okay, I'm not gonna sit here and reenact the most universally hated thing I have ever uploaded to this channel. But there is no arguing the undisputed fact that it is not only the first thing that I have ever uploaded to this channel, but it is also 10 years old. Yes, that's right. The world has been putting up with this crap for 10 years. A lot of things that are different. A lot of things that have stayed the same. But the simple fact of the matter is it's still this doofus on this YouTube channel talking to this audience. So this video is going to be a retrospective look at where things started, where things have gone, and where things are going here in the near and long term. Well, actually not so much the long term. Nobody can predict the long term. It's the internet. You can't figure that stuff out. But certainly at least the controllable short term for me. Now this video is coming out quite a bit late. I can't remember if the day was June 14th or July 9th. Somewhere in there. I think it was July 9th. If I remember right, the video was uploaded July 14th. And that was where the 14 came from. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's been 10 years. It's been over 10 years. This has just been late because I haven't gotten around to it. I've been dealing with a lot of different issues. So without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Alright, I'm not going to make you suffer through pants, video, and audio quality through the whole thing. That would just be rude. I guess to start things off, something you might not know is that a lot of my earlier videos actually predate the creation of my YouTube channel. Back in 2008, I had really gotten into the whole YouTube idea and thought that it would be cool to start making my own videos. In particular, tornado animations that you see are all from basically 2008 and 2009. Because that was the kind of thing that I was into. I thought they were cool, so I started trying my hand at making my own. I wouldn't call them great, but at the time I thought they were cool, so whatever. That was definitely a way to pass the time and, do something with what little free time I had, because being an elementary school student at the time didn't really have a whole lot of free time. And of course, as you know, I had the Toshiba satellite laptop, which had a webcam and a microphone on it. And at some point I'd hit upon the idea that I'm watching these channels that are uploading videos of them sitting in front of a computer and talking. I thought that'd be a cool thing to do, so I started doing that a little bit. However, because I was really self-conscious about the way that I looked and the way that I sounded, most of those videos never really ended up seeing the light of day. Some of them did. I think there are a few of them that might have. And there is still some unreleased material that I've got sitting in a folder. I don't think any webcam videos are there, but no, that's not true. There is one webcam video. And maybe I will get off my duff and edit that and post it for all of you to point and laugh at how crappy my video making skills at the time were. In April of 2010, I got my first cell phone, and this thing had a camera and a microphone on it. I hit upon the idea that, hey, now I can make the kind of video where people don't have to see me. It's much better than what I was making before. And it's a lot easier to make the kind of video that I would like to do. You don't have to point a webcam at some other random computer that's sitting in front of the thing. So it's a lot easier to do that. So started making a bunch of videos with that. But again, most of these videos really just did not end up seeing the light of day because I didn't like the way they turned out. See, back in those days, I wasn't using a video editor. I mean, the phone had a pause button on it. I think I might have used that a couple times, but that's about it. There's no video editor, no cutting, no pasting, no anything like that. So it was just a straight one take, and that's it. If it didn't turn out I either redid the whole thing from scratch, or I just lost interest in the whole idea and never uploaded it. Sometime in May, I think it was May, might have been June, shortly after opening my channel, but definitely that time frame, I was given 2 Macintosh PowerBooks and an iMac G3, and these machines helped kickstart me back into computer collecting, which I thought was cool. I'd always been a PC guy, so the Macintosh was a foreign thing to me. I had a couple of them over the years, but never really gave them the time of day because it never really interested me. But this opened up a whole new realm of computer collecting and computer experimentation. Along with those PowerBooks and the iMac, I ended up with a Canon BubbleJet printer. I forget the model on that thing. I think it was like BJ2100 or something. BJC2100, there we go. That's the thing. Could have come with color. I had black and white, but whatever. And a cartload, and I do mean a cart. I brought it home with a shopping cart. Cartload of software, all of which I still have to this day. And that was my re-entry into the computer collecting field. Now, see, I was always a goody two-shoes when I was a kid. If I wanted something, I would always ask for it. I would always do what I was told. That's changed. You know, it's easier to beg forgiveness than permission. We won't talk any further about that. But I had asked, I think it was 2009, a couple of times. I had asked, you know, I would like to make my own YouTube channel. And I was always told in response, no, what do you need that for? What are you possibly going to use that for? You don't need to be putting yourself out there like that. And I'm not going to disagree with that, being the age that I was at the time. 2009, 12 or 13, I would have been. It's my very obnoxious opinion that nobody younger than 13 should be putting themselves out there on the internet. But I mean, hey, I'm just some doofus on the internet talking to an audio recorder on a cell phone, so what do I know? So, I was shut down, I think, twice on that in 2009, and I think early 2010 as well. Finally, in July, early July, actually I opened my channel July 9th of 2010. I finally took matters in my own hands because at the time I was keeping track of YouTube videos I liked by leaving them open in a tab in the browser. And, you know, after you get a couple hundred of these things, opening your browser is a little unwieldy because now you got a couple hundred videos blaring at you. You got to go stop all of them. It really got kind of out of control at that point. And I mean, yeah, I probably could have had like a text file with all the video URLs in it, but you know what? What's the fun in that? Open the channel. Again, the original plan for the channel was not to upload videos. It was just to keep track of the stuff that I liked. Using the favorites feature, which, ironically enough, YouTube doesn't have anymore. At least not insofar as I know. I think there's still a favorites playlist. You can add it to a favorites playlist, but the actual add to favorites button that YouTube used to have is gone, which is unfortunate. It's the same as the a lot of the other stuff, private messaging and whatever. But we won't talk about that because that's not the point of this video. But then, July 14th, 2010, there came the day. Now, I know. Hold on, let me close my door. Now, okay, guys, I gotta offer up an explanation now for what happened, the backstory for why I uploaded this stupid video. At the time, I had my L300D, and I was experimenting with different operating systems on it, other than Windows. Now, I was not familiar at all with the way Linux worked. In fact, to point out just how much of a total freaking noob I was at this, I didn't even know what a bootloader was at the time. So I had no concept of what the file allocation table was, no concept of what a bootloader was, you know, the boot section, the MBR, didn't know about any of this stuff. I just, you know, it's a hard drive, it's got stuff on it. It somehow boots itself. I don't need to know any of these details. It just works. Until it doesn't. But that's neither here nor there. So I was experimenting with different Linux distributions at the time, which was a new thing to me. I thought it was cool. All kinds of different things, different flavors of Ubuntu, you know. I think Linux Mint existed at the time, but I hadn't discovered it yet. Fedora Linux, Nimble X, which was a CD distribution, you couldn't install that. There were other various things. Haiku, I even experimented with Haiku on the system. That didn't go so well, but it was there. You know, I did all this stuff, but the one that stood out was Ubuntu Linux. That was the one that I had just installed probably about a week prior and was experimenting with. And it was the first release of Ubuntu. It wasn't polished, it wasn't perfect, and it really kind of showed. And the one issue that I had with it on that L300D, and I don't even know why, because it's the only one distribution I ever had this issue with, it would make the system overheat and shut down at random. Well, okay, it wasn't totally random. It would usually happen when you were doing something, like, for example, browsing YouTube or installing updates. So, I was installing updates one time, it shut off, because it overheated, that's what my guess is, and turned it back on, and it had broken pretty much all of itself. I don't know if I was having a bad day at the time. I really don't remember. I mean, it was 10 years ago. More than 10 years ago. But I immediately jumped into Windows. I don't remember how I did this. I think the bootloader was still okay, but jumped into Windows, fired up the webcam software, and published this stupid rant that nobody should watch. I mean, frankly, it sucks. I can't watch it. I think the best I have been able to do in recent times is get like 25-30 seconds into the thing, and it's a almost 5-minute long video. So that goes to show you just how bad this thing really is. But I mean, everybody's got to start somewhere, right? I really did not expect that this video would get the 8,000 views that it did. I mean, it's been 10 years. But I really only expected it to get maybe 50 or 60 before it died away. And people didn't really care about it anymore. Of course, I also really didn't expect the humongous negative backlash that I got to that. It was like the most universally reviled video I've ever uploaded. But I guess there's one thing. And so I decided that, well, I've uploaded this video, cat's got the bag, might as well upload more videos. And so I took some of the content that I had previously recorded that I had previously thought I was never going to upload to YouTube because it sucked, and uploaded it, and that is where everything started. A lot of different interests, a lot of different subjects. In November of 2010, I actually decided that I was going to separate some of the main interests out. You know, my main channel, this channel I was going to use for computers, and you know, I had a channel for siren stuff. I had a channel for, you know, all the main stuff was separated out into channels. In retrospect, that probably wasn't the best idea. It fragmented the audience in a way that lowered the view level on all of the other stuff, the stuff that I wasn't uploading to my main channel. That being said, in a similar situation today, I would probably still go through with making all of those separate channels, because at the time it seemed like a good idea. You know, I had all these wildly different things, and I thought, you know, the people that want to watch this can go to this channel, and want to watch this other thing can go to this other channel. And that's just the way that it worked out. So the channel was continuing to grow, and somewhere along the line, I decided, okay, I'm recording these videos with a cell phone. The video quality is meh, you know, it's whatever. There's not a whole lot I can do about that, but the audio is terrible. I mean, listen to this garbage.
I cannot believe I haven't done the video of this machine up until now.
If I'm going to continue to make videos, I gotta do something about this. And so I invested in some video editing software. At the time, I think it was like VideoPad Video Editor. In fact, I don't even think it was that. I think it was just Movie Maker on Windows. And for the time that my L300D was away getting repaired, which was pretty much all the time, I was using iMovie on a PowerBook G4 and a microphone of some description or another. I think I was using a little Apple microphone from the 90s in all of its monophonic, I think it was the right channel only audio, maybe it was left channel only. I never corrected it at the time, but use that to record separate audio and put it together in post-production. And so the end result was something like this.
And today, I'm going to be ranting about how crappy this microphone up here is. Yes, that is the microphone that came with my computer.
That's better, but the channel was still growing, and at some point I said, okay, if I'm going to continue to make videos, I'm going to have to invest in some proper video recording equipment so I don't have to waste my time having to record a separate audio track every freaking time I make a video. And so then this happened. This was my first ever camcorder, a Samsung SMX F50, and looking back on it, this camera was a huge turd. I mean, the audio was way overmodulated, the video was noisy and grainy and didn't really look all that good, and there was a constant autofocus hunting noise, which was made worse by the fact that the audio was so overmodulated. But I mean, hey, compare this
Random bell.
to this.
So I'm going to show you the cartridge.
And you can see the obvious improvement in there. 2011 through to 2013, maybe even 2014, maybe even longer than that, but for a good maybe 3 or 4 years from 2011 onwards were probably the most active years on my channel. Whenever anything would happen, I would pick up the camera and record it, much to the detriment of the overall video quality. You know, I thought that it was cool to just, publish anything that happened. Somebody might find it interesting. Throw things at the wall and see if they'll stick. In April of 2012, I got my first start with the whole video log or vlog thing, or vlog, I don't know how you're actually supposed to pronounce that, which is something I would kind of like to get back into. I've dabbled on it in and out over the years. I think it's kind of an interesting sort of video thing. I might try my hand at it here soon, I don't know. But I thought it was fun at the time. It was effectively for Christmas of 2012, but in January of 2013, I went out and got myself my first high-definition camcorder. Now, this wasn't my first little dabble in HD. I had an iPod Touch 4th generation that recorded in 720p. I use it every once in a while to record some videos for the channel. Didn't really think it was that convenient to use, but it was there. So now the videos were in high definition. Hooray! Towards the end of 2013 and into 2014, the place I was working at the time was getting rid of a bunch of old PC hardware. And again, it'd been a long time since I'd been into collecting PCs. I had the Macintoshes, but I ended up coming home with a lot of stuff, including, but not limited to, in January, a Sony Handycam CCD TRV-72 Hi8 camcorder, which was the first tape-based camcorder I ever had my hands on, and I thought that the video quality out of that thing was actually surprisingly decent for what it was. But of course, at the time, I still said, okay, I'm going to still use the high-definition camera to record pretty much all my videos because it's 2014, Funny how that works out in retrospective, right? Towards the end of 2014, I made the discovery that there exists this magical place where people take their old crap that they don't want and donate it, and then the place will sell it at a very steep discount. And oh boy, did I ever get in trouble with that. Looking back on that. The first one, I didn't even know it was coming. I thought it was just, it was just going to be like the one thing. And, every once in a while you'd find something. Oh, no. That's not how it turned out. But of course, it is cool to look back on all this stuff and say, okay, that was where it all started. 60 FPS came to the channel also in December of 2014 with the purchase of a Sony Handycam HDR CX240. Not as much of a piece of crap camera as the Samsung was, but I really didn't exactly like that camera either. If you're wondering what happened to that one ultimately broke. I forget exactly what precipitated it, but I think the zoom mechanism stopped working, and that was pretty much the end of that. I know the camera fell off of a shelf, and the plastic case was pretty busticated after that. So I'm not sure if that had something to do with it, but I know it worked after that for a little while. But I just kind of got really fed up with the whole thing, and wouldn't read SD cards properly. It just kind of blah, didn't like it. Something else worth noting that I almost forgot, even though it really doesn't pertain to this channel, 2014 is also the year that I started Low End Radio. And that anniversary date's coming up real soon. That's August 4th. I started that 2014. It's been 6 years. Kind of amazing, really. 2015, or actually 2014 really, because it was New Year's 2015, is notable as being the first year where I ever had a decent sized setup of alarm clocks that I sounded off. Now, I did it once before. I did it in 2013 as well, 2012 into 2013, but it wasn't nearly as exciting as it was in 2015. December of 2015 is notable because that was the first time I ever bought a computer at the thrift store. Again, kind of kick-started a bad habit of finding stuff, but such is the way that things go. And at the time, I thought it was decent. It was a Pentium 4 with the Dell Dimension 5150. But, that was still reasonably okay stuff in 2015. It's mostly just interesting as a historical footnote to say, okay, back then this was actually worth something. These days I wouldn't even bother looking at a Pentium 4 anything. But, at the time, it was pretty decent stuff for the price. It's said that everybody gets their 10 seconds of fame, and this channel certainly is no exception. Early January, like very early January, I uploaded a video about it on January 6th of 2016. Some guy, I don't know if it was ever figured out who exactly did it. I don't know. I didn't follow the scandal really all that closely because I really didn't care, honestly. I just wanted it gone and dealt with. For them to leave me alone. Somebody took it upon themselves to go through a whole bunch of channels on YouTube and issue copyright takedown notices on videos. And they were videos pertaining to Windows Embedded POS Ready 2009. I had a couple of these things on my channel, so it's probably, a wonder that they didn't take out the whole channel, but whatever. I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth on that. But on a bunch of different channels, and unfortunately I got caught in the wake of this nonsense, and it's really kind of amusing looking back on it, all of the just stupidity that was involved in that copyright takedown, and I really don't understand why Google allowed it, just because it was just so obviously a blatant abuse of the system, but they allowed it. YouTube's whole system is shoot first, ask questions later. And the other irony is that the video that they took down was uploaded on my birthday. I think that's actually kind of hilarious looking back on it. But so that was a thing that I had to deal with for however long it was that I had to deal with. I think it was 90 days. I just let the copyright strike expire because, honestly, one of the potential motives that I thought of at the time for this would be to get people's personal identification information, addresses, names, whatever. Because you, in theory, have to submit that, even as bogus as all of this crap was, when you submit a counter notification. Now, I guess in a situation like this, you could probably just fake all that information, but I wasn't gonna, take the chance on that, because it'd just be my luck that something would come of it. So I just sort of let it silently expire, and it did. About a month later, I actually picked up my first secondhand camcorder, a JVC GR60. Really wish I still had that camera. That was a really nice camera. Unfortunately, it succumbed to bad capacitors. But again, that definitely kick-started, the whole picking up used vintage camcorders that record on videotape. When the HDR CX240 finally broke, I just started using all these cameras on a regular basis. And I know that I get constant bombardments of comments of people asking me why I still use the old crap cameras, but it's probably never going to change because, it's kind of become the thing of this channel now. It's to record vintage equipment with vintage equipment. Kind of fits, right? I don't know. I think it's just one of those things that I do now that's kind of makes my channel unique. January of 2018, I uploaded my 2000th YouTube video. Now keep in mind, I still did not yet have 1,000 subscribers on my channel, and as a direct result of this, I got caught up in the whole demonetization gate, if that's what you could really call it, back at the beginning of 2018 when YouTube decided that the program got kind of ridiculous and out of hand, and Google decided in their infinite wisdom to fix this. They were going to boot people out based on different metrics that they decided were a good idea, and I got caught with all the rest of them. So that was a thing for a while. Unfortunately, that really kind of put a damper on the content over a little while, because the YouTube money it wasn't a lot, but it was still kind of helpful to have, you know? And then in June of 2018, I finally reached that very special number of 1,000 subscribers on this channel. It took about 8 years to get there. And the funny part is that it's, you know, since then, I am approaching almost 1,800. So I'll say it will have probably maybe taken about 3 or 4 years to get to 2,000, to double that. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. I uploaded this special video, fixing up a computer. At the time, it was the oldest PC I had actually worked on the channel, which I thought was pretty neat, which is why I wanted to save that for that video. Towards the end of 2018, another thing I started experimenting with were system explorations at work. In one of our back storage rooms, we had a bunch of ancient, mostly 386, 486, and Pentium systems, but I mean there were some newer ones there as well, and some K62s and stuff like that. And so I took every single one of them, and I did take every single one of them, and I recorded a video of them, just going over them, and after the fact, going and narrating what I felt like narrating. It's a significantly different style of video than what I normally do, but I thought that was cool. Unfortunately, I have just kind of been lax about editing those, so eventually they'll come back. I just need to, you know, work up the motivation to actually go sit down, voice track, edit, and upload these things. And I think that is all. That takes us to where we are right now. 2,400 plus videos later. I think I've said all that I need to say. Also worth noting, at some point, I guess, 2019 or whatever, this ended up turning into a camcorder test channel. I really don't know. But the thing that's important to note is that this is a variety channel. I upload a lot of different things and a lot of different subjects. So if you don't like what I'm uploading today, come back tomorrow, or come back in a week or whatever. Although lately it seems to be slowing down a bit because there are definitely some issues, physical and mental both. There's some family problems, there's some other troubles that are going on. I'd like to get to the point though where I can upload one video per week. That would ultimately be nice. I've got quite the backlog, so one video a week is still not going to be enough to go through it, but it's at least a start. One more thing before I leave, just to drag the mood down a little bit. I wouldn't mention this, just that he shows up in so many of my videos that it's worth mentioning. The big, fat, carefree kitty, his name was Scott, that shows up in my videos. He passed away in March. The short story is that it probably was cancerous in nature, whatever it was, but he lost a lot of weight, lost a lot of appetite, lost control of his bowels, and all of that. And it was really bad towards the end. In the last couple of days, he basically just laid down and did not get back up again. So that was the end of that. So that has kind of also put a damper on a lot of the editing, because, I mean, he shows up in so many of the videos that it just invokes a bad memory. But anyway, so there you go. There's your retrospective. I'll look at the channel's past, present, and future. Here's to 10 more years of hopefully incident-free video making, but of course this is the internet. We can't have nice things, so incident-free, calling it that just basically guarantees that something will happen. I don't know where the channel's headed. I'm going to just continue to record the videos the way they've always been. I see no reason to change. So, thanks for watching this. You got any comments, questions, whatever, feel free to leave them down below. And this is CP666 signing off, and I hope to see you next time. Till then.